Good morning. It's Nate Abbott from Abbott Business Networks. This is another internet security update. I'm on this theme, and there are other things to talk about, but I feel like it's still the most important thing that I have to talk about. I posted a video about passwords and password length and security. Today I'm going to show you how hackers get your password, and the methods that I'm going to show you make the length and complexity of your password virtually irrelevant, which is really probably the point of those headlines last week that I spoke about before. So we'll talk about this. I think it's still valid to use a secure password, and there's a good reason, and I'll explain why in this video. I think security is about and, not or. You need to do measure A and measure B and measure C to be secure, not measure A or measure B or measure C. So we'll try and get that clarified today so you can understand the threats that you're facing when you're on the internet. And you know what? I often make it analogous to if you go into a big city and you're a man and you're concerned about pickpockets, you move your wallet from your back pocket to your front pocket. Funny thing, I've kept my wallet in my front pocket for most of my life now. And that was from growing up near a big city. I think on the internet you have to think, I'm near a big city, I'm going to keep my wallet in my front pocket. The analogy for a woman with a pocketbook is you want a pocketbook with a clasp that is a positive clasp, not something that just flips open. Okay. So I've made a crucial I've made a primitive graphic, and I'm going to show it to you right now. And this is my little chart of threats. And we're going to go through these one at a time, and we're going to go between this image and me talking. But it's just a simple way to really talk about three main vectors that hackers have for attacking you and getting your credentials. And they want to do this because they want to get your money, most of all. They also want to impersonate you, and they want to get other credentials of your friends and associates. So the first way we're talking about here is a data breach, and this has been in the news a lot. You create an account with Acme Corp. That's you at your computer. Acme Corp gets hacked. And really, this can be any size company. The largest companies in the world have had data breaches. Not all of them, but a significant number have. And once the data breach gets into the public domain, a hacker gets your account. Now, right below this, I've put that if your Acme Corp password and other passwords are the same, for instance, let's say your Acme Corp account is your email address, and your password is the password you use for everything, then when they get that password and email address, they get any other account that you have that uses that email address and password. So that's why having the same password for all your accounts is bad. Because if you get compromised once, you're compromised 100%. And this is a repeating story. There's a lot of cases where this has happened over and over again. Now, the next vector that I'm going to describe is called malware. And this is you at your computer, and these little lightning bolts indicate that you've been infected with malware. The malware can, not always, but it can install what's called a keylogger. That's a program that tracks the things you type into your computer. So if you don't have adequate malware protection, that's basically a modern word for virus, computer virus. It's software that's not good for you, that's malicious. When you create your, or if you just access an existing Acme Corporation account, the hacker gets your credentials from the keylogger. Okay? This statement is true once again. The difference here is that if for as long as you keep that, as long as that malware stays on your computer will capture your activity. It can capture credit card numbers. It can capture all kinds of things that you're typing in, and that's something you're probably not going to want. The third thing that can come is a phishing attack, and that's down here at the bottom. And you receive an email or you encounter a web page that has a link that looks like it's to something you know, like Acme Corp. And so you go to that web link and it looks like Acme Corp, but it's not Acme Corp. And you log into the page and the hackers collect your credentials from the session with a fraudulent page. The hackers control this page that you were phished to. That's phishing with a PH. Once again, they'll get your Acme Corp and just substitute Acme Corp for anything you've got an account with. It could be Facebook, it could be your American Express account. And once again, I'm going to defeat my auto zoom. Those are three very common ways to get hacked. And once again, if you have used a common password for many important accounts that you have, then it doesn't matter how long or complex it is, they will have it. And they will have it for as many places as you've used it. So using a different account password for different accounts is just as important as having a secure password. So why do you still need to have that long, complex password that I was talking about last week? Well, in some data breaches, the company will encrypt the data for your account and password, which means the hacker needs to crack the password from an encrypted piece of data that they may be able to identify in the data breach they extracted from the company. When that happens, and more, because of the number of breaches that have occurred, more and more companies are storing passwords in a hashed or encrypted format. And here's where the complexity comes in. The way they attack that password when it is hashed is they attempt a decryption, and then they compare the decryption to a password list to see if it matches something. And if it matches something rational, then the computer says, hey, I found one. If your password is words, it's much more likely that the decryption attack software that the hackers will use will find something, will find out that they've discovered your password or they found the hash for your password. If your words are distorted with the addition of a special character or a number, it's less likely, it's less easy for them to search for those identifiable strings that look like words, because most people do use words in their passwords. So last week I named Call Me Ishmael or What a Long Strange Trip It's Been as two examples of what could be good passwords because they're long, but there are words in them. So for any, again from last week, unentropic or not so random password with real words in it that you can read and remember, that same password with substitutions for letters, the substituted password is stronger than the original password. And I think that's really the point that the original advice made. And despite the fact that I've demonstrated today that there are many ways that a secure password can be compromised, and those are actually more likely to happen to you than the cracking method, it's still good to use the most secure password that you can tolerate having. It's better than not doing it. And if you use a password manager, it's even easier to make those unique passwords for every one of your accounts. So my point has been all along when I talk about security that we're a little like a herd of ibex on the Serengeti plain, and the weakest and slowest animal is the most vulnerable. and you don't want to be that weak, slow animal on the internet, because there are lots of predators out there. So make yourself strong by having strong passwords and having unique passwords for every site. I've thrown a lot of analogies, a lot of stuff out here. I hope this has been useful to you. I think I'm going to end my discussion with passwords with these 2 videos, and we'll move on to more interesting things. Thanks for your time again. Take care.